We have accomplished much, my friend. We overthrew the tyrant, Euraxia Tarn, defeated Zumog Foom and the Betrayer, even killed at least 2 dragons and made the moons move in the sky. If only I could shake this sense of impending doom. Nothing specific, not really. I guess this sense of worry will stay with me until I know the fate of Gareshri, Zamorak, even Prefect Kalo. I would return to the Moongate, but other matters require my attention. Namely, the envoy of the Main. That is just it. I have no idea. Moons, my head pounds. The effort I exerted at Jode's core was not without a cost. Five Claw, could I convince you to determine the fate of my soldiers and our friends? I appreciate your assistance, my friend. Find out what happened to Gareshri and the others, then bring word back to me. Meanwhile, I will try to find a few moments to rest before I meet with the Main's envoy or worry about the other dragons. Far from it. But without Calgrontid and Mulamnir to lead them, they are solitary beasts without a grand plan. Colossal, dangerous beasts to be sure, but not the overwhelming force they were under their dragon leaders. There is little difference between myth and history for the Khajiit Five Claw. Whether Euraxia discovered the Kunzari stories and that led them to the Betrayer's head, or Zumog Foom reanimated the head and then learned the tales, who can say?
It's good to see you, Five Claw. We only just returned and I have yet to report to the Queen. Chimera is alright, isn't she? We saw the moons move and the eclipse end, but we haven't heard what happened after you entered the Moongate. After I was caught in that dragon blast, Zamorak tended to my wounds and took command of the soldiers defending the upper ridge. I'm sorry to say that I was in and out of consciousness for most of what happened next. I know that I am still alive and grateful to be back in Rimmen. It's a miracle, thank the moons, that the city is free once more. If you want to know what really occurred at the Moongate, you'll need to ask Zamorak and Prefect Kalo. There are those among the troops who need the healers more than I. But perhaps a few hours in the soothing springs will restore my strength. I'll need it too. I have much to do to help Chimera restore Anequina to its former glory.
Oh, it's you. Good to see you're still among the living. I suppose you had a hand in getting the moons to finally fall apart? Hang on, I need to finish my report. I find that it's best to write it all down while it's still fresh in my mind. It's all in my report. Our troops held their ground and fought bravely. We lost many good soldiers, Khajiit and Imperial, but we did our duty. We slaughtered Euraxians by the score and kept the dragons at bay until the moons broke apart. It was crucial to our survival. When the moons separated, the dragons broke ranks. They seemed to lose their drive, their purpose. They stopped attacking and flew off. Not a moment too soon. We had exhausted both our strength and our ammunition. The ones that survived Zamorak's charge lost what remained of their courage when the dragons abandoned the field of battle. They scattered like sand roaches and ran in all directions. I doubt they'll give the militia too much trouble going forward. We still have a lot to do to heal the scars left by Euraxia and her mercenaries. I'll offer our services to Queen Chimera and Lord Gareshri. Let them use us where we'll do the most good. If that's what they need. But the Cygnus Irregulars are mostly military engineers, scouts, and trainers. We have a lot more to offer a kingdom that needs to be rebuilt than just blades and shields. That was our original mission, to help elsewhere.
Zamorak is happy to see you, friend. After the dragons entered the Moon Gate and you followed, this one worried that all was lost. But then, the moons parted, and suddenly everything seemed all right. Just what you would expect. We held our ground against the swarming Euraxians and their necromancers, repelled the dragons as best we could. This one let the desert wind flow through his limbs and claws, while our soldiers rallied to his side. Between the Khajiit militia and the Cygnus Irregulars, we held them off. When the moons separated, the Euraxians broke off their attack and scattered to the four winds. The remainder will be a nuisance, but they pose no threat to the kingdom. Zamorak doesn't know for certain. We faced mostly the Euraxians on the upper ridge. Prefect Kalo commanded the ballisti, so he could tell you more. This one does know that when the moons began to separate, the dragons roared in rage and flew away. Zamorak hopes to serve as Queen Chimera's claw and defend the throne as he was trained to do. If she will not have me, well, Gareshri has many plans for improving life in elesweyr. This one would be happy to help in any way he can.
Outsider, this one must speak with you. This one never expected to set foot in the capital of Anequina again. She hoped the militia would succeed, but she didn't believe they stood a chance against the usurper queen. Kashia understands you played a significant role in these events, yes? Such wonders you have accomplished, and to have touched the face of Blessed Jode. This one is in awe. Despite all that, the Main has sent me to determine what happens next. Where is Lord Gareshri, the Speaker of the Main? The healers? This one hopes the Speaker wasn't gravely injured. As for your question, we must settle the matter of Anequina's succession. Kashia must determine if Chimera is the legitimate heir to the throne, and if so, recognize her claim. Certainly, but anyone can make such a claim. To be accepted by the Khajiit, she must be recognized by the Main. With Gareshri indisposed, will you stand with Chimera and vouch for her heritage? If so, please tell her I am ready to meet with her. Before you return to Chimera's side, this one requests an additional favor. The Main gave Kashia a sealed letter for Abner Tharn, but he refuses to see me. I understand that you and he share a special bond. Perhaps you could deliver the letter.
The specifics concern the Tharn alone, but this one believes it deals with the artificial eclipse and its impact on Khajiit society. The moons hold great sway over the Khajiit born under them. What does this mean for those born during this eclipse? No matter what caused the eclipse, Joan and Jode joined as one. When this occurs naturally, one born then may become the next main. But during a false eclipse, succession becomes a concern. The main hopes Tharn can explain the arcane implications. The main cannot be everywhere at once. That is what the Speaker and the envoys are for. For now, the main's duties do not include anequina. But know that the main's heart is everywhere in elesweyr. Now, please deliver the letter to Abner Tharn.
Abner, you simply must stay for the ceremony. It's not every day we get to see a lovely cat receive a crown.
Nonsense. And don't call me Abner. Besides, I think I've overstayed my welcome as far as Chimera is concerned. You and Cadwell, the two of you just can't leave well enough alone. No one was supposed to notice as I slipped out of Rimmen. Of course, very little has gone according to plan since the Wrathstone tablets set me on this path. I am neither sentimental nor enamored of pomp and circumstance. My time in elesweyr has shown me that I have limits. I am not the battle mage I was in my younger days. Besides, I hate parties, small talk, speeches, canapes, totally unbearable. I watched firsthand as a remarkable young woman became a leader. She's already a queen. Everything else is simply ceremony. I've lingered here long enough. You were an able enough traveling companion. I may call on you again sometime. An intriguing question. Are Khajiit born under a forced eclipse next in line for the main? But this other bit confirms my suspicions. I must travel to Palatine at once. I'm sure we'll see each other again. Until then, farewell. We accomplished much, but I fear we haven't seen the last of Calgrontiid. I must investigate reports coming from the south. You, however, have a queen to crown. Take Cadwell with you and make sure he behaves. And tell Chimera she did admirably. We saw no body, and there's no reason to suppose Calgrontiid couldn't escape from Jode just as we did. He absorbed a remarkable amount of energy while the moons were aligned, after all. I'll send for you if and when I confirm my suspicions.
Abner's received a new quest from the main. As soon as we finish here, I'll join him. Quests are my speciality. Oh, fiddlesticks. I just remembered Queen Chimera asked me to be her king's claw. I guess Abner will have to soldier on without me. Yes, indeed. Her exact words were, "You can call yourself the Emperor of Cyrodiil for all I care. Just quit blathering and let me think." I've no designs on the ruby throne, but Cadwell the Queen's claw has a rather dashing ring to it, eh?
Nevertheless, this one has asked the out.
Garishri told me you found them. He filled me in on what happened during the battle at the Moongate. Dragons and necromancers, I understand. But politics and coronations, they twist my tail, and their regalia, it pinches. Moons, I miss my leathers. I am having many thoughts, but I know what I must do. Like Anequina and my other ancestors before me, I must stand tall and accept my responsibilities with humility and grace. Provided the Main's envoy confirms my right to the throne. The woman is inscrutable. I think she just wants to see me suffer until she acquiesces and places the crown on my head. Before the full weight of the kingdom falls upon my shoulders, I want to tell you something. I want you to know I appreciate everything you have done for elesweyr. For me. I do not believe we would have survived without your assistance. Now, I understand the envoy asked you to stand beside me at the ceremony. Are you ready, my friend?
The healers were able to do wonders, my friend. I almost feel like my old self again. I will secure Camira's claim. You just stand beside her and support her. She values your presence, as do I. But where is Camira? I expected you to bring her in.
Who will confirm that Camira is the daughter of King Hemekar and the rightful heir to the throne of Anequina?
I will, as her guardian all these years, and as the Speaker of the Main. Camira is the rightful heir. Come forth, daughter of Hemekar and Numara. Come forth, child of Anequina.
Camira, do you accept the duties of the throne? Will you lead this kingdom and protect its people?
I do, and I will.
Know then that the Main accepts and recognizes your claim. All hail Camira, Queen of Anequina!
I promise to serve our people, and I offer thanks to all who helped achieve our recent victories. Finally, there is one I wish to honor. One whose assistance in these matters was unprecedented and invaluable. Fiveclaw, my comrade and friend, please, approach the throne. Courageous Fiveclaw, I will make sure your deeds are sung by my people. They will be told from one generation to the next. As Kunzari passed into legend, so too will you. Then say nothing, my friend. Just know that you helped deliver my homeland from tyranny. You helped me avenge my parents. You saved us from dragons and undead. We will never forget that. I will never forget that. You appeared when elesweyr needed you most. In our most desperate time of troubles, you helped restore our nation. You will always have a place here, my friend. And I want you to accept the greatest award I can offer. I name you Champion of Anequina. There are still dragons to kill and Euraxians to deal with, but now it is time to celebrate. Take a few moments, talk to our friends, then enjoy yourself, champion. You earned it. Just what you would expect. I listen to problems and I try to find solutions. I suppose I must coordinate with our allies in the Dominion at some point, and there are still stray dragons and Euraxian deserters to deal with. So, the usual things. It is time for different adventures, Fiveclaw. I must lead my people and erase the memories of the usurper queen. May her name be blotted from the histories. Of course, I may find time to slip away and explore a ruin or two. Every now and again.
I came to northern elesweyr with an impossible task. I took command of the militia and sought to free Rimmon from Euraxia's grasp. With your help, we accomplished so much more. You have my thanks for that, champion. As always, I go wherever the main needs me. For a while, I remain in Rimmon to provide Queen Chimera with whatever assistance she requires. You know, I watched Chimera grow these past 6 years. She will be a better queen than even I imagined.
Thank you for helping to restore the bloodline of Anequina, Walker. It is good to see a Khajiit once again on the throne of Rimmon. Gashia apologizes for all the formality, but she had to be sure before she bestowed the Main's blessing upon Chimera.
And all hail Fiveclaw, whom I name Champion of Anequina!
All hail the greatest diplomatic assistant in Tamriel! Let us celebrate our accomplishments by drinking mead and exchanging friendly headbutts. Rigor doesn't consider any mission complete until he can't remember most of what happened. Rigert will go wherever the winds of diplomacy take him, friend. Rigert refuses to rest until Tamriel's races are all sitting together peacefully, drinking mead and singing songs about... mead, probably.
I'm glad that the Cygnus Irregulars were able to lend Queen Chimera our support. Helped make up for all the evil Euraxia brought with her to elsewhere. Now where's the music? I didn't spend the last 6 years learning Khajiit waltzes for nothing. I hate the idea of mercenary companies, but without an imperial government in place, that seems to be what we're reduced to. Luckily, Chimera has accepted our offer of assistance and has agreed to employ us. As engineers and aid workers, of course. A few. You'd be surprised how many of their dances can't be accomplished with their claws or a tail. I do hope they play the waxing moon, though. I find it rather elegant, and it's the one best suited to my tailless posterior.
This one's heart sings at seeing Chimera crowned queen. Her parents would have been so proud. Thank you, my friend, for getting us to this moment, and for helping Zamorak find his way back to his true calling. Zamorak will always be an adept, but Queen Chimera has agreed to accept me as her claw. This one will protect the queen and serve her as best he can. It is what Zamorak was born to do, yes?
Last time I was in Rimmon Palace, it was on... business. Well, certainly seems you've sought out bigger game since our time in Hakoshey. A dragon, I believe? Or several, if the stories I've heard are true. You'll have to excuse me if I don't trust you to get rid of all the beasts. The sooner I'm back in Morrowind, the better. I don't say this often, but it would be best to stay on your guard. Not this time. I just doubt this dragon business has been entirely dealt with. Best to be prepared for what lies ahead. Besides, it would be awful if you wound up dead. You were marginally helpful after all.
Wasn't that a beautiful ceremony? Not quite on the level of the time I attended Molon Ball's first Daedric Titan unveiling and Soul Shriven Impalement celebration, but beautiful, just the same. Next, having given it a thought, it's enough trouble keeping track of the past and present to bother with what happens in the future. Maybe I'll finally build that little house on the edge of Cold Harbor's yawning chasm. Ah, the vertigo. Well, certainly. Eventually. It's my home. Besides, who would all the soul-shriven look up to if I never returned? Have no fear, my friend. If you ever need Tamriel's sword again, I'll rush to your side without hesitation. You have my word.